Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe here, your pilot here for this ride and adventure here over the next little while on the Wake Up Legendary show. It is truly now a legendary show, known and heard about around the world. Why? Not because of me, because of our amazing guest. And this morning we have yet another fantastic, legendary guest. She actually I'll let her tell her story. Melanie, welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm in my office. Well, one of my offices, taking vacation time to do the podcast. But all my
Yeah.
coworkers are well aware of what I'm doing in here. So,
Well, of course. I mean, you're
yeah,
the HR manager, so you're following
right.
all protocols and policies, correct?
Correct. That way they
Absolutely.
know fully what's going on. Full disclosure.
Absolutely. So where are you calling in from? What state, what city?
I am in the center of Texas, in College Station, Texas, America.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I usually take Wednesdays off. The wonderful, legendary Joanne, our director of marketing and life training, usually is hosting on Wednesdays. But, I had a few sick days myself over the past week. I had strep throat and
Oh,
could barely talk. That started, I think, last Thursday when I was like sounding all weird on the show. And then Friday and Monday I had to sit on the bench. But I read. Not only did I want to come here and make up some time and just get my wake up legendary hours in because I need that personally myself. But I
yeah.
also read, every time we invite somebody onto the show, we ask you a few questions. We ask you to fill out a questionnaire. And, I read your answers as I do with every guest, but I also read them on Wednesdays. And I said, I got to talk to this lady.
I've had quite an adventure in life. So yeah, it's been a
So
oh,
tell
go ahead.
us, tell us about it. Tell us what led you to legendary and what were you looking for when you found us, if you were looking for anything.
Right. So, I mean, going back 10 years ago, my husband and I started a brick and mortar business, and it only lasted 15 months. And we ended up losing that business. We ended up homeless. I sat there and looked out the window and watched them drive off with our minivan. It was quite traumatic. So I told myself I am never owning my own business again. I'm just going to work for somebody W2. That's it, because and it's taken us a good many years to get our feet back under us and to be where we are now, and me being in the position I'm in. So when I started looking at, okay, I need to make some extra money. We have a special needs child, and so my husband and I had determined that one of us needed to be home and one of us needed to be the financial provider.
Mm,
And just the way our lives have worked out, I had the higher paying job, the benefits, all that good stuff. And so we determined my husband needed to be at home to help with our four children, including our special needs child who has autism. And so I was like, I've got to make the money. And I was like, what will fit in my busy schedule? Because I was working full time, working on my master's degree. I've got four kids, there was a lot going on. And so I immediately started looking for things that I could do in a short amount of time, but have a high return.
mm,
And that's what led me to Legendary. I started watching videos on social media. And as you know, the algorithms work and then more stuff gets fed to you. And so
yeah.
I did a lot of research because I was like, I am not owning my own business ever again. I was so traumatized by what had happened. And so when I came to Legendary, I did a ton of research. I watched video after video after video. So by the time I actually started doing Legendary, I knew about the blueprints. I knew about the process. I knew what it was. And I just got really excited about it with hesitation.
Of course.
Because I've done the MLMs, I've done those types of things that you work
9 of
hours and
them I
hours of
read.
time and you don't get any kind of significant return. And so I was cautious, but optimistically cautious.
Yeah. What a powerful story. And man, I got goosebumps when you told that about so detailed, so specific about watching your van get driven away by somebody else. losing everything and telling yourself, I will never own a business again.
Never. I wasn't going to do it. It just, because it was all dependent on us, and we'd have kids to feed. And, luckily we had wonderful family that took us in for a while to help us get our feet underneath us. But I'll never forget the Christmas we spent in a hotel and had a little tiny Christmas tree from the dollar store. My kids still remember that.
Jeez. And yeah, you use the exact right word, traumatic. I mean, we all have our own traumas. Nobody's traumas are better or worse than anybody else. They're all our own, and they all create similar and powerful and deep feelings in the moment, and residual feelings and fears and anxieties in they're not even phantom fears because it actually happened. Right.
Right.
So they're lasting fears. It's a lasting impression. It's truly a wound that you can see the scar, because in some cases you can go back. You may have filed bankruptcy. You may be reminded of that every time that you go to buy a house. Hey, what happened in this situation? Right. It's brought up over and over again. And so I can imagine that this was a big step for you, and this was something that maybe you and your husband talk. I mean, did you go to him? Did you bring this up to him, or did you think, hey, he's never going to go for this? Let me get it started and bring. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure.
You're smiling. What's coming up for you?
Well, because I talked to my husband about everything, and I said, look, I found this. I think this fits me really well. I'm like, I think I can do this. And he was obviously very skeptical at first. And he was like, no. And I said, just give me 3 months. I was like, give me 3 months to just do this. And if I have 3 months and I can prove to you that I can do this. And you know what? Our goal, he was working part-time. And our goal was to get him to where he didn't have to worry about working anymore. His last day at work was last Friday. He already was able to give up his job because I showed him that I was able to do this, and I can scale this to whatever I want it to be. And I have the knowledge I need to do that. Yay, I wanted a cat throw.
I mean, you've already, wow, the hubby's home, and we're making right where he wants to be, right where he needs to be, and where your family needs him to be.
Exactly.
Already.
And I just hit my 2 months on the 29th of July from when I launched. I launched on May 29th. So I've seen enough success that we're confident that we're not even worried about it. We're not even worried about it.
And it's not just because you have 50 or 60,000 followers out on your either Instagram or TikTok account. It's not just because you're making money. It's because, and I'm assuming here, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's because you're developing and now know the skills to create income for yourself in these core 4 business models that we teach here. Is that right? Do you really now see how they are transferable skills and that nobody can take them from you?
They can't take your knowledge from you. And that's exactly it is. And I even say it in my videos and stuff, is that if you learn the right way to do this, then you have that knowledge to apply it to anything, whether that's your own business, whether that's other people's products you're promoting, if it's you wanting to develop coaching. I mean, I see this in the future, me going to doing my own coaching, right? I love talking to people. That's why I'm in human resources, right? I love people, and I love being able to help people. And so this just gives me additional skills that I didn't have before, because I just didn't have the knowledge. How do you put all these pieces together? And that's what Legendary did for me. They said, take this piece, take that piece. And what did I do? I followed the directions. That's all I did. I followed the directions, and I was consistent. And yes, I gained a lot of followers fast. I'm actually over 82,000 on my Facebook page. And I think the time I filled out the questionnaire, I was only at like 40,000. So in a month, I've doubled that. And it's not that I've had super viral videos. I have on TikTok. One went viral, but it was not for the right reason. apparently poop jokes are timeless. And that one
That is
went
true.
viral and it's got 5 million views. But I do not get my contacts and my sales from the viral videos.
Hmm.
It's from the videos that actually give great content about how to do affiliate marketing and those people that are truly interested. The viral videos just go viral for really random reasons, and it's never the one that I think is going to go viral,
Right.
ever. If I had to look at all of my content and pick them, it's not the ones that I would pick. And
Yeah.
so you just have to be consistent because you never know what's going to be that one thing that gets you the followers that then gets you the audience to actually deliver the message you want to deliver.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
so
yeah,
beautifully said. And don't you wish that you had this knowledge back when in those 9 MLMs that you were doing? They call it network marketing, but I was only showed the networking, never the marketing side. I was like, how do we actually market? Because I'm out here putting signs, magnetic signs on the side of my truck, kind of driving around, acting like I don't need people to call me, but clearly I do. I'm in an old gray 1990 Ford F-150 that's got more rust than paint, and I pulled up to a light and people would try to avoid making eye contact with me. You know what I mean? Uh,
right.
I was never actually taught marketing skills. When I finally was, I was able to actually apply those skills to network marketing businesses, and I realized they even applied to any traditional business. Did you have that same experience in those 9 MLMs with kind of like, hey, all right, back to making that warm list and let's get on those friends and family again?
I think that's why my family right now is like, oh, good job, Melanie. Like, I'm so glad you're doing affiliate marketing, but I don't think they even believe it yet. Like, I don't have a single friend or family that has started this process because I have approached them with so many MLMs in the past. They're probably like, oh, yeah, that's fine, Melanie, whatever. And so, I mean, I sent them out and I said, look, I'm actually doing really good at this and it's a lot of fun. And that's the other thing is MLMs stressed me out. I was like, oh, I got to go talk to my friends. I got to go talk to my family. I'm destroying relationships, burning bridges. And this one, I haven't had to do that a single time, not at all. And that is one of my favorite parts of this is I just am me and people are either going to like me or they're not. And so I
You
just put
always, you
myself
always,
out.
you always know how somebody's joined a new MLM is they pop up after a couple of years and they're interested in how your life's going and how your kids are doing, and then on about the third or
Exactly.
fourth Facebook message, they're like, "So, are you still keeping your business options open?"
Right, right. Or, oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in years. You're so beautiful. Do you want this makeup? Like, no, not, I'm fine. So yeah, I mean, I feel bad for him because I've been there. I've been that person,
Well, we
right?
we
But,
can laugh because we have been that person. It would be judgmental if we hadn't, right?
right,
But we are only empathizing and in some cases sympathizing.
right.
Um, so, what has it been like for you? I mean, obviously, you were doing face to face stuff and calling and texting, and I'm sure just like more offline, we call it belly to belly marketing before with various ventures that you did. And it sounded like your brick and mortar business was also a brick and mortar business. Everything was done in person. What has it been like for you to go on camera and actually start putting yourself out there and seeing yourself and hearing yourself?
So in the beginning, so I was not on social media really. I had a Facebook page. I was not on TikTok at all. Was kind of afraid of it actually. And I maybe had only done 15 posts on Instagram, and it was those ones at like big events in my kid's life or something. It was nothing. I was not on social media. So when I say I started literally with zero followers, I started with zero followers. And I wasn't really sure how to do it. I had to fit, watch some videos on how do I make the videos, put text on it. And, I was like elementary level with videos. And so in the beginning, I was really just trying to mimic what I was seeing. And I quickly realized that that just wasn't me. And so while I'm still borrowing content ideas from other marketers, I have to make it my own. I have to spin it my way. And I also don't try to make the perfect video. I don't delete a lot of my content because I'm like, you know what? This is me. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to stumble on my words. I've even made 3 blooper reels of just outtakes of me trying to make a perfect video. And those have actually gotten a really good reaction because people can say, look, she's not perfect. She's not. And also I'm 45. So at somewhere around the age of like 40, 42, you get rid of the caring about what other people think of you. And so, I mean, my teenage daughters come by and they're like, Mom, that's kind of cringeworthy. And I'm like, that's fine. That is me and
You
my.
have permission to be a little bit cringe. We all do. Once you hit that 4-0, baby, you are totally permissed
I
to
own it.
be straight up cringe. You know, dad bod, gray
Mhm.
beard, you know,
All my
dorky,
chins,
double
everything.
chins, beer belly, the whole thing. Okay, we are allowed to have this, and quite frankly, you know, it is very relatable to also have some quirks in some like screw ups in your videos every single time. If you are perfect looking, perfect sounding, I mean, nowadays, my friends, people are going to wonder if you're like an AI robot. You know,
Right.
it is relatable. I found in my own marketing over the years as I became more comfortable in my skin. And that's really what it was. It was me becoming more comfortable in my skin, me realizing that the things that I was putting importance on, others were not putting importance on. I also realized and discovered something called the liking gap, which is a phenomenon. A phenomenon is something that you can't explain. So I'm not going to try to, you know, explain it.
Right.
But it's where we actually think people like us less than they do. And they actually enjoy spending time with us, hearing from us, being around us, listening to us much more than we assume that they do. Right. So when I started to kind of realize all these things, that I was going to be annoyed with how I looked and how I sounded, that I was going to pick myself apart no matter how perfect I looked, I just started to I just started to not only let it fly, but also wing a lot of things and
Right.
just become like a one take Dave, to where I no longer needed to, you know, if I stumbled and I was like, hey, how you guys doing this morning? Yeah, hey, mouth is just starting to work. We're getting a cup of coffee.
Getting there.
You just put whatever the quirk is, whatever the screw up is, you actually just laugh at yourself. And in some cases, you point it out for the audience. So it's not like something that you're like embarrassed trying to sweep under the rug, and it becomes part of the performance. Are you experiencing and experimenting with that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, there was one video where I was like, okay, you guys have a good day. Okay, let's try that again. And I just said it again. Okay, you guys have a great day. And I just left it in the video. I'm like, I'm not going to go edit that. Like, I'm just going to leave it there. And I have gotten a lot of comments from people just saying, I've been watching a lot of videos about affiliate marketing, but you seem so genuine and like a real person. And I know that is because of the content that I'm putting out there, that I'm not worried about perfection. And when I do those little screw ups, and I've done, I think 3 or 4 lives now, and people make those comments like, thank you for just being you. And in one of the videos, my daughter walked in because she didn't know I was filming. And another one, my son's like banging on the door because he doesn't understand why mom's behind a closed door. And I just, I just say, I'm sorry, I'm a mom. This is going to happen. And we just keep going with the video. And so, lives were a little scary in the beginning, but then I was like, you know what? This is my life and I'm going to let them see it because I'm putting myself out there. And so I really appreciate that. And I don't hide the fact that I have a special needs child. So I've had moms reach out to me that also have autistic children,
Yeah.
and just realize that they can fit this in and they can make it a part of their life as well, because I always emphasize this is completely up to you how much time you want to put into it. You can take 15 days to take the business challenge, or you can take 3 months, however
Yeah.
long you want to take. It's up to you. And that's one of the biggest selling points of this, was it had to fit in my busy life, and it does. And I have found ways to just fit it in the little nooks and crannies of life, and see success that I didn't even expect to have at this point. Like, I really thought that it would take, and some people it does. It takes 3 months, it may take 6 months, but they just can't stop. Like, the consistency is really what I've seen has been the biggest part, is when I'm consistent, it's there and people will want to talk. They will want to ask questions.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just followed the directions. I took the course. I, got the blueprint. I followed the directions and it worked.
Yeah. That's so clear. and it's so refreshing to hear. It also reminds me of my journey with addiction and homelessness, and being somebody who had a record because I had been arrested I got arrested right when I was 18 because of my addiction. So I had massive I had massive hurdles to overcome right out the gate as an adult in terms of getting employment, and and those were all drug related charges, DUI, possession of marijuana, things like that. Back before things were becoming more acceptable, and you could get medical licenses and even recreational licenses and stuff like that. But anyways, I had an addiction problem regardless, so it wouldn't have mattered. Um, but that was all, that was all something that I was able to, as I marketed, that wasn't the focus of my message. It wasn't the focus of my business. I was also coming online, and I first started with actually turning around and marketing to network marketers and showing them how to generate leads online. But that evolved into affiliate marketing, course creation, copywriting, all the skills, all the things that we learn and then realize we can teach and share with others. But you know what? What gave my marketing humanity was the fact that I started to share more about my personal life and the things that I was dealing with, struggling with, had struggled with, challenges that I had, special, with your case, reaching out and sharing your story about having a child with special needs, then realizing how helpful that is for other people to hear and relate to, similar to how I was able to do with my addiction story and things of that nature. And it created not only relatability, it created not only humanity and humanized me. It made me a real person because I was vulnerable. I wasn't capitalizing on that story. I was being vulnerable with that story, because you know how the difference between when if you're capitalizing and if you're being vulnerable in telling something that's powerful as part of your message, if it's hard to share, right? And if
Right.
it's hard to share at first, and you're a little bit uncomfortable and you're a little bit scared, and you don't really know, and you feel like you're opening yourself up to be vulnerable, that's how you know that you're on the brink of sharing something that is close to your heart and will likely humanize you. And through that sharing that I did, it really did create so much identification, and it also helped people to feel less pressure and feel the need to be less perfect, and to accept all their challenges in their own personal life as it is what it is. And made them realize, you know what, we've all got our own set of challenges that actually are not our liabilities. These things are actually, these people, in your case, these people, these challenges, these parts of who we are not our liabilities. They are actually our assets. They are actually our strengths. And that's why I've always said, turn your struggles into your strengths. We once thought that it was a struggle or felt a struggle as we dealt with them. But as we become empowered to share those, letting the fear of judgment, and we walk through, fear of judgment sort of dissipate over time, and we walk through that vulnerability, it creates deep, amazing connections. And it both inspires us as we're sharing it in an empowered way, not in a fear based way where we're like embarrassed to share these things, but it empowers us to be inspired by our own story, proud of who we are, what we have, and what we're overcoming as a person or as a family. And then after all that, which that's the main benefit, the benefit that we get from stepping into our power and not being afraid or hiding, but it then impacts and inspires other people. Are you finding that to be true with sharing
Absolutely.
about your special needs son and any other challenges, or special needs child and any other challenges that you may have started to share?
Right. Yeah. I mean, exactly. With us losing our business and all that kind of stuff. And I've
Yes.
I've had some other marketers reach out to me and say, can you just look at my content and tell me what to do? And I'm not an expert by any means, but if I go look at their content and I don't know who they are by looking at their content, all I tell them is be you. Don't be afraid to be you, because I mean, this is one reason why I also love affiliate marketing, is that one, you can't really saturate it, because my audience is going to look completely different than somebody else's audience. It's going to look way different than a 20-year-old's audience, right? Or somebody that's been through something different in life. And the more that you can be you, whether that's your personality, experiences you've had, or whatever, that's what's going to build your audience, because people want to connect. They want to feel like they are part of a group. And so if they can connect with you in any form or facet, that's what's going to build your audience. So my audience is going to look completely different than your audience, than, Joanne's audience, than Becca's audience. I mean, it's going to look completely different. So our audiences are different, and we need to be able to stay connected with those people. And it's not like I share every personal detail of my life, but
Sure.
there are things that I know other people are struggling with. And
Mhm.
so if they can see, I'm a really busy mom, but I can fit this in, or, I've been through being homeless and I have come back to the point that I am. And so don't give up, things like that. I have a special needs child, and that comes with all of its own challenges, and learning a whole new world of acronyms and things that we have to do, and things that as a parent, when you first learn your child is autistic, you're terrified, right? And so that's actually one of the other niches that I plan on getting into, is parenting special needs children, because you get into this and you just don't know what to do if you don't have other parents that have already experienced that to lean
Yes.
on. And
Yes.
so, like you said earlier, can you take this knowledge and use it in other areas? Absolutely, and that's what I plan on doing. And so I I've said in a few of my lives, if I had known about Legendary before I started my master's program, I probably wouldn't have started my master's program. But it's part of my career, and what I have to advance in my career. But the fact that I made more in 1 month than I'll get as a raise for getting my master's degree, it's kind of exhausting. But
It is.
that's what we've been told, right? You go to work, you have to get more education, you have to get more training in order to get promotions and all that kind of stuff. And shifting my mindset, I think, has been one of the biggest things is that I also gained through going through this
Mm.
education, is that what we've been taught, especially in our generation, my generation, um, is completely different than what is reality and what can be reality. And so that to me has been invaluable, to let me know that I don't have to be in this grind of 40 hours a week, continually trying to improve my education to get further up in my position. Like, I don't have to do that.
Mm. Yeah, and it's part of turning a struggle into a strength, right? It is a real struggle. And quite frankly, it is also an accomplishment for anyone who has achieved any sort of degree or educational benchmark, my friends. I am not here to, and never, ever will you hear me talk down or minimize the work that somebody put in to achieve, because that is years. That is, you talk about taking
Years.
on, you
Yeah.
talk about taking on financial weight.
Mhm.
I mean, that is signing up for, in some cases, in most cases, tens of, unless
Thousands.
nowadays, if somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to get you a 4-year degree for $2,500," then you would say, "What kind of university is this? Is this a scam?" Right? Right.
Right, right.
The same things that they say about our education program, which is sort of ironic. But anytime somebody takes on that level of debt, by the way, student loans are the only American financial debt that's not
It doesn't go away in bankruptcy.
excusable even in bankruptcy.
Learn that firsthand, by the way.
Okay, thank you. So that's an accomplishment. That's something that anybody who has a degree, anybody who has a career, anybody who is out there working to provide for themselves and their family and just doing their best should be proud of themselves, not ashamed of their job, not embarrassed by what they've accomplished. And not but, and it adds now to your experience that you can talk about that as you venture into new territory and start a new journey based on your own personal brand and story, where you can share that experience. Hey, my dear friends, I've been down that other path before. I know what that's like. I know what that continues to look like with the continuing education and sort of the corporate ladder that one needs to continue to climb. That once you get to one level, it's sort of like, gotcha, there's another one.
Right.
There's more to keep climbing. And it's not that we don't love personal growth. It's not that we don't love, but I think the beauty of entrepreneurship is that you're not being sort of forced to get something in order to, it's not do this and you can have this. It's, hey, I want to invest in my skill set because there's unlimited scalability, because I have no idea where this could take me. That's also the scary part of entrepreneurship, as you know. Right? You're rolling the dice on yourself. So let me ask you, what has it been like for you to begin to roll the dice on Melanie?
Unexpected is the first word that comes to mind. As confident as I may be, I still had a lot of doubts. Like, can I really do this? Is this really going to happen? And in the beginning, like, I was not getting any growth on my social medias. Like, it took a while. Like, and I had a couple things go viral, and it seemed like it then just kind of snowballed from there, right? But in the beginning, I was like, maybe I can't do this, right? I've only got a few followers. I've only got a few views. I've only got 100 views on a video or something like that. And I was like, no, I can do this. Like, I've got to keep the confidence. I've got to keep it rolling. And, because you guys emphasize, give it the time. Don't quit before the miracle happens, right? How many times do you guys say that? Don't quit before the miracle happens. And you just start to see little by little these things happen that just keep you going and keep you motivated. And I honestly did not think I would be at this point at this time. I told my business coach when I called him, it was Gerard, and he's in South Africa, and our time worked out perfect because I needed really early in the morning calls, and that was like nighttime for him. And I told him, I said, you know what? One of my goals is to be on Wake Up Legendary. I was like, that's one of my first goals.
Here we are, baby.
Here we are. And if you go watch my content, there's a video of me crying because I was like, I got an email today. Getting invited to Legendary. So, Melanie. Yeah, I mean, this was one of my goals. And here I am. And I would have never thought it would have happened this soon. I'm like, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year. And here I am 2 months in. And I'm seeing things happening that I didn't give myself enough credit that I could make happen.
I love that. This is a process where we really get an opportunity to be reintroduced to ourselves. Do you agree with that statement?
I completely agree with that. I have had more fun making content and really getting back to my goofy side. As weird as that sounds, like really reconnecting to who I feel like I really am. Because at work, you have to put on, especially in HR, you have to put on this very professional persona. You really have to follow all the laws and the policies and the regulations. And it's very contradictory to who I actually am in my real life. I'm a fun, bubbly, happy person. And I get to do that. And I'm making money doing it, right? Like, I'm getting to be my genuine self. And yeah, there's always going to be the haters out there on social media. And I learned really quickly that you just kind of ignore them. Like, they probably just hate life anyway. So just let it go. But I've gotten so much encouragement from people and messages that I never would have expected of, you just brighten my day. Really? Like, how am I doing that? I'm just being me. And so with the little bit of negative that comes, there's all this positive, and it really has been just a boost for me in my life and giving me the motivation that I need to keep going, because now it's not just about me. It's about the people that are out there expecting me to provide them information, content, entertainment. And so I just enjoy it, and it doesn't seem like work. And I think that's,
Mm.
and I say it, maybe this isn't for everybody, but if you're doing it and it doesn't feel like work, then my God, take it to the sky, right? Like, just do it.
I love, love, love that. And what I mean, I love so much of everything that you just said, because we all have that goofy side. We all have that, that inner child. And part of this whole process for me was tapping back into that inner child and learning how to be playful again. Corporate America, school, society, uh, teaches us to be adults,
Right.
teaches us to be boring, teaches us to, don't be too loud, don't bring too much attention to yourself,
Right.
don't be silly, don't be silly, stop horsing around, and
Right.
some of us can still hear our elders and caregivers, and teachers and administrators and guidance counselors and all those different HR people,
Right. Us
you know,
HR people.
saying those things. I love that we're doing this interview in your office, taking a personal hour at your HR job. This is just lovely. It's wonderful. It's beautiful, and I respect it so much. But this process, over the last decade, has brought the inner little David out, and it has. I'm such a playful guy. I'm such a big ham. I mean, I watch my 2-year-old son. He is such a ham. His name's Sam. He's such a ham. I don't know if he likes green eggs and ham.
Boom.
But everything's a game to him. Everything is a game to him. Whenever I start getting serious, he looks at me like, is this a game?
Yeah.
Are we
What am I supposed to
playing
do?
right now? Like what are you doing, Dad?
Can I laugh, or do I need to go sit in timeout?
Yeah, I mean, he's just, everything's a game, and I think society has a way of sort of squeezing that out of us over the years, because we have to be so professional. And that gets really monotonous, and that gets really, we lose ourselves. We have a hard time finding, we lose our identity in that. And then all of a sudden, many of us, we become married, or we have children, and we say things like, well, we've lost our identity because of our children and all this. And the truth is that it likely started to happen way before that. Right. It
Right.
started to get squeezed out of you as, people were asking, are you guys going to get engaged anytime soon? Right. When society started to pressure you and your spouse to get married. And then people started to ask you if you were going to have kids. And then, you started to feel the pressures of everybody around you starting to kind of close in on, like, when are you going to start a family? And are you going to be a homeowner? And are you going to have a white picket fence? And are you going to have 2.5 children and a dog and all these things? And you're like, oh my God, I got to keep up with the Joneses, right? And that pressure, makes us forget what's important to us. It makes us forget how to play. It makes us forget how to take risks. And then we have traumatic events like the one that you talked about with, losing the business and losing your home and being homeless and, being in a hotel for Christmas with your family. And although those things have also made you who you are and given you and your children experiences that remind you and teach you that you can get through anything, it also chips away at us, and it creates fear for us to take chances and be playful and be ourselves, because we don't want to screw up. We don't want to lose everything again, or we don't want to lose our jobs, or we don't want to this and we don't want to that, and we start to kind of live our lives based on reactivity and fear. instead of on faith, and instead of on taking risks and rolling the dice and betting on ourselves and being goofy and ourselves and not caring what other people think. How has can you talk a little bit about your confidence? You said that you were going live now. You also mentioned mindset, how your mindset had evolved and changed as you were going through this process, starting with, going through the challenge at first. How has your mindset changed, and how has your confidence changed going through this process?
I think it was step by step. It wasn't all at once, and it wasn't overnight, right? It was that consistency of showing up, not just showing up, but showing up for myself, right? Showing up for my family, and knowing that I had to learn how to train my brain to not be afraid of taking the next step, of, saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it confidently. And it, it wasn't without fear. It wasn't without anxiety, and hesitation. But like I said, you get those little small wins, one more follower, one more video that gets a couple more views, and you keep just building on that and finding the little things to find that confidence in. And then you get your first really great comment of, hey, I connected with you, or I really loved that video, or thanks for making me laugh. Right. And that just gets you and keeps you going. And my mindset, like, I really had PTSD about, like, when I had my business call to set up my LLC, I had quite a bit of anxiety before that. I was like, I don't know if I can do this again. Like, that was another roadblock that I hit. Even though I'd gone through this and knew I wanted to do this, I hit that other roadblock because of my past trauma. Right. And I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for this. I don't want to do this. Like, I know what happened the last time I went through this process, and it was hard. And I got on the call, and everything went smoothly, and I was like, okay, I can do this. So it's really been step by step. It hasn't been all at once. And believe me, I still have fears and I still stumble at times, but I'm like, if I can just stay the course and see my end goals and make those goals, like being on Wake Up Legendary, and, just continuing to be consistent. And that was one thing when we lost our business, I lost a lot of me. I lost a lot of me because I felt like such a failure. And sorry, I'm not going to get emotional. I felt like I had just destroyed my family by making a decision that I thought was good, right? And so that still comes up, obviously. Here I am. That still comes up, of that fear of, am I doing the right thing for my family? And this has been one of the easiest decisions for me to make, that it's okay. One, because this business model has probably the smallest overhead known to man in businesses that you could start for yourself. So that takes some of the anxiety away, right? Knowing that try to own a brick and mortar business. The overhead is ridiculous, right? Not to mention employees that you're responsible for and all of this other kind of stuff that's just added anxiety and stress, where it's not just your life, now it's all these people's lives. And so it really is something that still comes up, obviously, that still kind of traumatizes me at times. And so I just have to keep that mindset, and just the whole team at Legendary is so positive and so encouraging. And I am very active on the Facebook pages because I love to see other people's journey and the things they're struggling with. Can I help them? Can they help me? I've asked questions. I've answered questions.
Yes.
Right? So having that community of people is part of what's helped me continue to go, because I see that there are other people either struggling with the same things I'm struggling with, or having successes in the same places that I am. And so while yes, this is just my business, I'm not alone at all. And I think that is one of the big things, is because I am such a people person. I like to have that community, and Legendary has built that in a way that's extremely accessible. And so I really like that.
And one thing that really hit me as well, backing up, you just touched on it again, was the fact that we are looking, most of us, for accountability in the wrong place. Okay. And everybody that has been struggling to start a business and who has maybe started MLMs or has gone through what I call the guru gauntlet out here on the internet, where you show up to a webinar or something like that, and the guru is there, and he's going to be, or she's going to be your savior. She's going to be the one who is going to, lead you to the promised land. You're then putting all of your eggs in that person's basket instead of becoming accountable to your first follower. Okay. Doing everything that you can to get your first follower, and then becoming accountable to your audience, not your mentor, not mentor. And I'm going to put that in quotations because there's, by the way, you will never see me shouting from the rooftops or calling myself anyone's mentor or coach, because I don't view myself like that. I view myself like a facilitator at most. I'm the CEO of Legendary Marketer. So I'm an active entrepreneur. My role in entrepreneurship is to operate and run my company. It's not to be people's saviors and their coaches. I mean, we have Drew, we have Ryan, we have Joanne, we have so many of our business plan advisors. And in many cases, these professionals are as good or better at a lot of these skills than I am, right? I have my own strengths and I stay in my own lane. I am a facilitator. I'm somebody who finds it to be more effective to interview clients and students and have them be the spotlight on them and tell their story, rather than me trying to be the omnipotent, all-knowing one all the time. And the reason why this is so important for everybody to hear and know is because even when we start something like this, I see this all the time. People come into Legendary and they start to struggle or have challenges, which is exactly what you're supposed to have when you're starting something new. Okay.
Right.
And what do they think? They think they need to have the secret mentor, an additional coach, somebody out there who they can touch the robe or get let on in on the secret, and that suddenly that coach or mentor is going to be the all-knowing one, right? And it never pans out. Very, very. I mean,
Right.
if somebody does suddenly start to have success, it's most of the time because they started to take action. But what you said earlier was, I am accountable to my audience. They're counting on me to come out and provide edutainment, entertainment, and education. And so I feel, I'm speaking for you because I'm paraphrasing. You
Right.
said, I feel accountable to continue to create and to continue to deliver and to continue to be consistent to my audience and also my community that I have now tapped into.
Mhm.
I'm asking questions. I'm also contributing and answering questions. Could you say more about that and let me know if I summarize that correctly? Is that how you feel? And did I hear that correctly from you a few minutes ago?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And I am very attentive to my messages. So not only do I, if somebody says they're ready and they want to get the link, I don't just send them the link to my, my sales funnel. I'll go and message and I'll send them a recorded voice message with their name in it and let them know, hey, I'm real. I see you. I hear you. This is me messaging you so that you have a one-way communication with me if you need it. Ask me the questions that you need because I understand. I had all the questions in the beginning too. So I'm here to answer that and making sure that I'm attentive to that I'm checking my email, that I'm checking my messages, and then I'm responding to people because that is what I needed in the beginning, was someone to answer my questions. And I got it, right? I reached out to the person that that I saw on social media, and they responded to me. They were attentive to my questions. And then once you get into the actual legendary process, there's a plethora of places to get answers and responses from. And I want to be a good representative of that. You know, I want to continue that and know that if people reach out to me, they're not just reaching out to a dead end. You'd be surprised how many people, when I message them back and send them their voicemail, like, oh my gosh, you're a real person. Oh my gosh, you actually respond. Like, how many times have they messaged someone and not gotten a response is my question. You know, I'm like, yes, because I want to be representing myself in a positive light. And if you're entrusting me with decisions you're making about your future, I want to be available to answer those questions for you, because I don't want to be the one that gives you, like, doesn't respond. And then what if you missed out on a great opportunity because I just went silent or wasn't responsive? That's part of the job, right? That's part of the business is providing what you know to help others get to the same place. And I'm not an expert, but you know what? I know more than the person that just sent me a question. So, you know, and that's part of the whole learning process. And I know more now than I did 2 months ago. And so that's what I love, is the continuing to learn, the continuing to fine tune what I'm doing and how I'm doing it to better connect with the people that are finding me in whatever source or manner that is. Because in old school marketing, it was like you needed to knock on their door, you needed to hand them a brochure, you needed to, you know, old school marketing is what I used to do.
I know I got my box of business cards. There's about 1,000 business cards that I used to collect, and I was in that game. You know, I want to make sure that we get you out of here on time so you can, you know, get back to work within your hour there. There's so many powerful things, so much more to talk about. I certainly want to have you back to keep us posted on your journey. What advice did you need, or would you give yourself when you first started this, or even first were exposed to it, that you know now?
So I'll tell you, one thing that I did do was I gave an email address that I had not used in years, because I was like, is this a scam? Like, is this real? Because sometimes it sounds too good to be true, right? So I gave like this email address that I had to reset the password for because I had not used it in so long. And then when it got to doing my business call, I scheduled it out like 2-3 weeks. I'm like, dadgummit, now I missed out on 2 weeks. I could be 2 weeks further into this if I had not been scared. But like I said, it was that fear and that past experience that caused me to say, oh gosh, this is another big step. Like, I don't know if I can take this big step, and just letting go of that fear and giving yourself the opportunity to know if this is right for you or not. And I wish I had not hesitated and that I had not waited. I was holding myself back, and I had to be the one that let those barriers down. So if I could go back 2 months, 3 months ago when I was first starting this, I would have been like, Melanie, stop being scared. Just don't be scared and just do it. Because then I'd be a few weeks further along than I am now. And that's what I tell a lot of the people, like, you know what, if nothing else, you need to get far enough into it to know if this is right for you, and don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid. Yeah. So that's what I would tell myself for sure.
Awesome. This has been just so wonderful and so inspirational, and I'm fired up. And that's the beautiful thing about what you mentioned a moment ago, is that when you are there for your audience and then they start to give you that positive feedback, whether they buy or not, it's boosting your confidence. And I hit on that yesterday, that, you know, it's not all about them. It's also about you, and you just continuing to take the next step and taking all of the positive feedback, whether somebody buys or not, and allowing that to prove to yourself that you can do this, that you're worthy, and allowing that to boost your confidence. Melanie, this has been legendary. You seem legendary, my friend. You come back and see me in the near future and keep us posted. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your story and your courage, and for coming on today and sharing with us and achieving the goal of being on the show.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Dave.
All right. We'll see you later, Melanie.
All right. Thanks.
All right, my friends, there you have it. You can follow and support and learn from and watch Melanie continue to soar and achieve her goals and crush this even further at Make Money W for with Melanie. And that's Melanie. Make Money W, Melanie. Make Money with Melanie, out there on TikTok and Instagram. And my friends, wow, what a week of Wake Up Legendary. I mean, this is exactly what I needed as I'm coming off of a little illness there, to get back in the saddle, and so fired up. I'm inspired. I'm encouraged this morning. And I would encourage each and every one of you, if you were coming on late or didn't catch the whole episode, to go back and give this one a re-listen. Now get out of here, my friends. Have a fantastic day. Be legendary. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.